Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Love that intro, man. That's a good one. Got me on that one a little. S&Ps. We kick it off, folks. 3:07 p.m. Wednesday trading. Apple trading higher. And yes, let's get into the markets. S&Ps right now up by 46 points or 0.7%, trading at 63.72. And you talk about an important technical area on a very short-term basis. Right back to the highs of yesterday. Doesn't get much clearer. We'll see if we can break through these areas with some volume, or if that's going to be a little bit of a ceiling. Now you back it up a little bit more than that, okay? And this is also the area of last Wednesday, right, which was Fed Day. So we are right at the spike lower. That was an area of support. We've turned it into an area of resistance. We'll see if it's resistance yet again. The S&Ps, though, up by 0.7%. A lot of the action, Apple. Oof, remarkable, man. Excuse me. So Apple testing the highs of Thursday. And let's get over to the headline. And yeah, you're talking about $100 billion U.S. investment. That is on top of the $500 billion that they've already pledged. Okay. The announcement includes a new manufacturing program designed to bring more of Apple's supply chain to the U.S. So nonetheless, all right, regardless of the details, you have Apple up by, like I mentioned at the top of the hour there, about 15 billion shares outstanding. You're up $11. That's $165 billion in market cap, almost $170 billion in market cap added from where we were going into the close as of yesterday. And yeah, that's going to put a lift in the NASDAQ 100. And the NASDAQ 100, just like the S&Ps, right where we were. The highs of yesterday, the lows of last Wednesday. It's a little bit of an important critical technical area on a short-term basis. See if these indices can get above that area, or if that's going to be a little bit of technical resistance. The Dow, a little bit of a different story, but pretty similar, right? All the indices are trading a little different, but when you compare it on a daily basis, same deal. Right back to where we were on last Wednesday. Now, and then the Russell. Same deal, but a little bit of a different story. As the Russell taking on the chin and underperforming. Now, let's talk about the volume here on the S&Ps. We kick it off. Come on, Thinkorswim. There we go. Now, yesterday was a little bit worrisome, folks, okay? You trade lower. You do it with volume. You trade lower with 1.35 million contracts in the S&P. That was only versus 1.22 the prior day. The big downward days of last Thursday and Friday. Yeah, and today we've done about 1 million contracts right now. You're probably not going to get to 1.35. So we're getting volume on the way down. You would need 350,000 contracts in the final hour of trading. And you're going to get about 100 to 150 in the final trading, okay? On close, yesterday we got about 100,000 contracts, but you need 350,000. And you can see the closing bars are about 100, 150, 150. So we're probably going to be a little bit light yet again. So the bounces are coming a little bit light. The way down, they're coming with some volume. And then you take a look at the NASDAQ 100, a little bit of a different story, though, there. Look at this, right? So these tech stocks, man, again, just continually driving everything. Apple in focus today, but let's jump around to some of those other tech stocks. You jump around to the big dog, NVIDIA, up by 0.5%. They're the big dog now, man. Apple was the big dog for a while. I'll get there. Microsoft, MSFT. All right, Microsoft not participating, down by 0.3% right now. You jump over to Google, up by 1%. Yeah, Amazon on China, catching quite a lift, right? Amazon, you talk about it. Look at this run, up by 3.4%. Let's take a look at the volume on Amazon, catching quite a lift. Yeah, volume's not going to be there. These are some big days. Going to be tough to match these days, man. AWS, really, no matter what happens over the next 90 days, folks, the AWS number, next earnings, 90 days from right now, whew, they ever miss again and Microsoft crushes it, they have a problem. And maybe there's a one-off. But if those numbers continue, the only thing Jazzy really said was we're in the early days of all this stuff, And yes, we're in the early days. But you're talking about one of your competitors, Microsoft, with Azure, that's growing their cloud, that's at $75 billion at 39%. I don't care if you're the leader, and they are the leader, Amazon. Okay, if a company with a Azure cloud of $75 billion is able to grow their business at 39%, I'm looking for bigger numbers for AWS than 17%. So they got to right that ship. And that's going to be what you're trading into in 90 days. And yeah, there's going to be an extreme buildup on volatility in terms of variance that's coming in, because that is going to be a very important number for Amazon shares. All right, let's jump around to some other equities. Disney with their numbers yesterday. And yeah, the market looking for a little bit more than what they came with. Down by 2.4% right now for Disney. It's been a heck of a run from the lows of April at 80 to 124.69. And Disney catching a little bit of a bounce, though. All right, we're down to 112, 115. You got some selling, and you had a little bit of selling yesterday. What I was talking about earlier in the program. Now, what's remarkable here is we're in a consolidation. Disney likes the 80 to the 120 area. Maybe 90 on the low side with a couple of drops. Whenever you think, folks, you know more than the market. Anybody who would have said that Disney can trade flat for 10 years, okay, in 2015, probably would have gotten laughed at after this thing was crushing the world, right? Trading from 29 up to 122. And if you remember this acceleration right here, in April of 2019, that's when they announced the details of their Disney Plus service. Okay, that's when they came to the public and they said, we're going to undercut Netflix. I think their original plans, I'll have to pull up original pricing. It blew the market away. It was like $3.99, maybe $2.99. Was it $1.99? I probably can't remember. It was so cheap, nobody even cared. The market loved it. They launched it right prior to COVID. You talk about timing, and then you accelerate. But yeah, we're right in that area. Now, longer term basis, yeah, they got a couple good movies on the slate, and you're looking strong. But right now, on a short term basis, this has been a technical area to the upside. Yeah, right? You want to call it. That is quite a massive head and shoulders. Boy. If that was ever the deal, you're going back to $30. I don't think Disney's going back to $30, though, folks. You know, their parks were on fire. I'll pull up their numbers, okay? Their parks restoration is just crushing it. And I haven't even made it to Disney yet in Orlando. Shame on me. We got to make it there, man. Yeah. All right, this market, speaking of crushing it, man. Apple shares up by $11. And we're pushing where we were. Yeah, the end of July. $215 was the price. We hit a price tag at $215.38. Tech stocks higher. Stay tuned, folks. We'll come back. We'll take a look at some other equities. We got Uber moving, as well as McDonald's on their earnings as well. Don't go away.